RWM Home Loans in Fresno is a proud sponsor of Fuego FC. RWM Fresno. Mortgages made easy and where your journey begins. Little Caesars has been a proud partner of Fuego FC for over a decade. Check out their new location on Cedar and Shields in Fresno and make sure to order some crazy bread. The Iron Office, a 24/7 private gym, veteran-owned, right here in Fresno, California. Make sure to lift heavy, lift often with the Fuego's official gym partner, the Iron Office. Envision Realty. We want to help those achieve the dream of home ownership. We are your voice and will be right by your side from beginning to end and beyond. Visit www.envisionfresno.com and be a future home owner. So where are you from, Kirk?
I grew up in Clovis. I was born in downtown Fresno community.
Oh, really?
CRFC,
Okay.
I guess now
Yeah.
it's called. And then, grew up in the country in Clovis. Went to Clovis schools and then Buchanan.
Mm-hmm.
And then did a semester at Reedley,
Okay.
junior college. And then
Tigers.
moved south. to
Tigers.
Long
Shout
Beach,
out to the Tigers.
Yeah. It was cool though. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like going out there.
Yeah.
I did Clovis
We've all got
Center-
Ridley ties now.
Clovis Center,
there you
Fresno
go.
City, and Reedley. I did, kind of sprinkled all the
Uh-huh.
campuses in. So.
Yeah. And then you moved away for a little bit, right?
Yeah, left for about 15 years, and then kind
To
of
where?
realized Long Beach, and then like LA area. I went
Mhm.
to Long Beach State,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Shout out Snoop Dogg.
yeah, of course, more G. Yeah, I mean, I guess at like 19 is like I needed to get quickly away as possible, and then 15, 16 years later, it was like more and more we were coming back. It was like loving Fresno and
Mm-hmm.
the Central Valley. So
Did you have that that itch that most people that grew up here have of like you just had to get out for a
yeah,
while?
of course.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, in the country as a kid, like, and still where my parents are still at, it's still like undeveloped out there. So it was
Mhm.
like before I was driving, it was like,
The
like,
fog.
dude, someone want to
I
come
grew
and pick
up
me
like
up?
my
Yeah,
grandparents
yeah.
grew
Schedules,
up
yeah.
out there, and holy cow, the fog is like
Yeah.
it's like
Oh, for
unreal. It's
sure.
next level.
You wake up, turn on like channel 18 to see the little scrolling to see if like
Your school's
Do I
in
have to
fog
go to
days
school
schedule.
today?
Yeah. Or I,
I
get a
still
couple
do that
hours
as a
off.
teacher.
Do you really?
I'm like, are the kids going to come today? Are they going to do I have the day off?
I never
Yeah.
got one of those. We just got like
Well, that was like our snow day. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
So
Fresno, we didn't get much of that.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Out in Reedley, we do. Out in Visalia, for sure. Like, it
Mhm.
gets real bad out there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Reedley, it's like, okay, are they going to run the buses? Are the kids going to show up?
So I mean, school. When you talk about your stuff for a bit here, tell us a little bit about what you got going on, what you do.
Okay, so I run a nonprofit organization called Camp Sunshine Dreams. It's a camp for kids with cancer and their siblings. So we went to an international cancer organization, and a lot of the camps in the United States and Canada only run camps for cancer patients, and then they run separate ones for siblings. And so what we realized here in the Valley is it really affects like your whole family. And I am a sibling of a cancer patient. My younger brother had a Wilms tumor, which is in your kidneys, at 11 months old.
Oh wow.
And luckily our doctor caught it. They took him to Valley Children's, and they actually removed an entire kidney before it exploded. So they actually saved his life at Valley Children's. And he went on, and they made this kidney guard, and he played soccer and baseball and basketball, and he did all the things, that little boys do. And So because of that, we got connected with Camp Sunshine Dreams, and I've been running it for 27 years now.
Wow.
And we accept patients and siblings, which is cool because a lot of like what he went through, I didn't really understand. And so you get to know cancer patients and like what they went through and the trauma and the medical things. And then you get to know siblings where the patient didn't know, like, oh, yeah, mom and dad were never there with you, or, you know, you were never home. Like, we were dropped off at everybody's house because we don't have family in California. So whoever wanted to take us this week or that weekend, my parents just kind of dropped us off with friends, and you know, we really didn't see them that often.
Yeah,
so.
it's a you know, we all have cancer experience.
Yeah.
You know, and Andrea's going through it right now, but I don't think sometimes, and it's hard to talk about myself in my own situation, but a lot of people don't really understand the impact that cancer has on like those that are surrounding them.
Yeah, for sure.
When, you know, Andrea was diagnosed for the second time, I was freaking crying and like, you know, a mess and needed my mom and dad, and like, you know what I mean? I was just, you know, it's a tough thing to be able to cope with. And, you know, she told me, it's like, I need you to be strong for me, and I need you to not treat me like I'm sick.
Yeah.
And it was this, and it's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you see your loved one, your other half, your brother, your sister, your mom, your dad, whoever it is, going through like this insane amount of pain and struggle, and treatment is like, it's torture. It's torture. And to be able to like put on a smile and be strong for a moment and like try to give them, like, just make their day for a little bit, you just give them a smile, and then like go away for a moment and like have your moment. Like it's something that can be difficult for people. And so I can only imagine what that's like for children, you know. Like for an adult, it's one thing to be able to like recognize what's happening, try to be an adult about it, not be overcome with emotion, and try to be whatever. But for a kid that's like still working through things, it's just that's an incredible thing. And for you guys to be able to work with those kids and maybe have them have fun together when they're maybe not used to always having fun together.
Yeah.
And that's really cool.
Yeah, we have a couple of siblings that they're actually staff. They're on our board, and they say when they're up there, that's the one time a year they hug and they love each other, because they're night and day brothers. They fight, they bicker, they everything, but when they're up there, they truly understand what each other has went through, and so they'll give each other a hug. And so I always text their mom, they're hugging now.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to see that and share that, and kind of share my experience with younger kids, and like, this is what I went through, and this is, you know, what I did to get through it. And, you know, because it does create a lot of trauma for the siblings and the parents and anybody around the patient. So we like to have both of those up there. And it's also nice because growing up with a cancer patient, you know, everybody was like, oh, you have to be gentle, you have to be soft. The doctors wouldn't let him do anything. And up there, the kids are just kids. Like,
They get to roughhouse.
you know, we would jump in the lake and like throw each other under the floaties and all this stuff, and just have an awesome time, because nobody was up there saying, oh, you have to be careful, he has cancer. It's like, no, you can be kids. Like, we got lifeguards, we're good.
It's super important, because just like how she told me, don't treat me like I'm sick because it makes me feel like I'm sick.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure the kids feel the same way, and just being able to be themselves. And so how when does this happen? How long do they go for?
So it's the first week of August every year. The past 2 years we haven't been able to do it because of COVID, but we have been doing it for 35 years. And the kids come up, they meet us at Valley Children's. We put them on charter buses, and we bring them up for a week, and they're up there, no parents, they're not allowed. Growing up, I got on the bus as an 8-year-old, and my brother as a 10-year-old, and my mom sent us away for a week, and social media wasn't a thing back then. So my mom was like, we sent you away for a week, and we didn't know anybody up there.
Right.
Except for the oncologist from Valley Children's, the doctor.
That's cool. So an oncologist comes on the trip as well?
An oncologist, and then we have a team of about 5 nurses, some of them through Valley Children's, some of them through other hospitals.
Wow.
And then, a bunch of other staff members are in the medical field or teachers or things like that. But you really, you don't know. You just have to trust that these people are going to take care of your kids. And it's cute because when the kids go home, we all have camp names. So my name is Blondie. I have blonde hair, so it fits. And they would go home and, oh, Blondie did this, and we went in the canoe, and Blondie did that. And they're like, who the hell's Blondie? And they're like, oh, that's my counselor. Like, and they're like, what the hell? Like, how do I find this person? So they're looking up Blondie on Facebook. I'm like, you're not going to find me.
Finding some singer.
Yeah. So then when I finally do meet some of the parents at the hospital, if I go in to see the kids or whatever, I'm like, oh, I'm Stephanie and da-da-da. And they're like, hey, Blondie. Oh, you're Blondie. I'm like, yeah. Hopefully your kid said nice things.
Yeah. Have you thought about doing an adult one? Because I'd love to.
I know. So we do, like, when all of the staff, because we're all 18 or older, when all the staff come back to Fresno, we usually go to Doghouse Grill, and we all go out and get good food and have a couple drinks,
of course,
and really like enjoy each other, because we've bonded as staff over the week that we were there. And a lot of us, some of us grew up together, some of us went to the hospital together, and some of us, like, we've gained nurses or doctors or something later on. So you really create that bond not only with the kids but with our staff.
Yeah.
So a friend of mine that I met, I was 8 and he was 10 back in 1995. We're still friends. I'm aunt to his kids. I was in his wedding. His wife was in ours. So we're still really good friends 27 years later. And you just create those lasting bonds.
The bonds, I mean, in bonds through times of struggle too. It's just like, I mean, I'm so thankful because we just went through a crazy hospital experience with Andrea, but like some of the nurses and support staff and people that would come by and chaplains and you know what I mean, you name it, like you build this bond with them and we won't forget them, you know. And it's like I can imagine like for these kids with the counselors and with other people and going up to a camp and having like a solid experience with an adult or somebody that's not like inside of your family, like those things you never forget.
Yeah. My brother's oncology nurse, so back he was diagnosed 1991, and his oncology nurse, she had just started nursing. She was like 22 at the time or something like that. She is on our board, and so she's still, and now she's met my brother's son, which looks just like him. So it's nice to see, a tiny version of him, and that he's able to have kids and everything after all of this. So it was really cool because we're still friends with her, 30 years later.
Right.
And so you have those lasting bonds, and it's crazy that so many people are affected by this in the Central Valley, and that we can try to support them and show the kids like it will be okay, and we will get through this, and that we tell them it's okay to cry. Like we love to have fun up there. We do so many fun activities. We've had different groups come up, like Hawaiian dancers. We've had the princesses. We've had bounce houses. We had a Native American group that brought up like teepees and did like this whole rain dance show. We've provided so many different clubs and things in the community for these kids to show them that. But I think the biggest thing is like, it's okay. It's okay to cry, and it's okay to, say this sucks. You don't always have to be strong. Like you can cry here. We all get it. But the best thing is to see them laugh. And, when you have a child who has had their leg amputated running around with another child that is bald going through chemo up at our camp, running around with each other trying to, get the giant soccer ball over the net, it's super cute, and it's very rewarding feeling. And it just kind of, everything that's going on in the world, it just makes you think like, God, like if these kids can get through this treatment,
Right.
we can get through anything.
Yeah.
And so
100%.
it puts your life into perspective.
Well,
for
and
sure.
it's something I feel like I've recognized is like the importance of mental health beyond just the physical health side of things.
Yes.
It's like chemotherapy, treatment, surgeries, you name it. Like it's crazy, it's difficult, but being able to have like an escape and an outlet or something just to kind of bring you back to like regular life for a second is such a healing type of behavior. So it's like,
for sure.
even though it may just be a fun and enjoyable thing based around, but I truly believe it's part of the healing process. And so like what you guys are doing is incredible.
Thanks.
Yeah. So how'd you guys get connected?
I guess it just started from the collaboration with you guys kind of hitting us up with Root to do part of your collaboration here coming up. And you mentioned that, finding a beneficiary. And I had gone through cancer in 2019. At the time, as a 38-year-old man, I was the youngest one going through chemo and radiation at my clinic. So I really wanted to find a local charity or group that worked with kids going through kind of what I went through, I guess. So I don't know how I ran across you on Facebook or something, and then just emailed you and kind of told you my story and what we were doing, and that we would love to kind of have them be our beneficiary, and a portion of the proceeds going to the camp. And and then COVID obviously slowed a lot of it down. And,
Yeah. It's been a mess.
Can't wait for that to be over.
I know, right? Yeah.
That's awesome. So, it's a little bit about you.
Yeah.
Fresno, Central Valley guy, went away, came back, started your own company. Why?
Well, yeah. I guess at 19, whenever we left, or whenever I left, it was like a country kid just thinking I needed to escape to a big city or something, and I wanted to go do art, and so I went down south to Long Beach and was attending Long Beach State, and then got into careers down there working in the apparel industry, and then I don't know, 15, 16 years later, the more and more my wife were coming back to Fresno, spending more time in downtown, and just kind of getting to know people in the community just randomly. And just really felt kind of inviting community, I guess, that we never felt in LA. Before my wife and I moved back, we were in the same house for about 8 years, and we didn't know any neighbors. And we're up in the hills in LA, and so everyone just kind of pulls in their driveway and leaves. And so I think coming back and like spending times, back when the Fulton Mall was there, and Peeves Public House was the spot to go to.
That's
and
Peeves.
And it was immediately just like very inviting. And so my wife and I
You
were
attended quite a few soccer games, I remember.
We would go to a lot, and that was another thing. I played soccer as a little kid, and then I spent 18 years playing baseball. And I could sit there and watch baseball for hours because I know what's going on. But for my wife, that thinks the game's boring.
A
And
change-up's not so
the energy
exciting.
of soccer. Exactly.
Yeah.
Just seeing the fire squad guys meet there in the early morning, and it was just immediately just like, wow, this is like something that we had never experienced. And then it was like, okay, well, we're gonna both be leaving our careers in LA. Like, what are we gonna do? And it was like, I guess retail. Like I've never worked a retail job in my life. Restaurants, bars, busboy, whatever. And so we decided to do retail, and we have a lot of creative friends just from the industry that we were doing in LA, and so just kind of thought we would give that a permanent house for those creatives to like showcase their work, and then it still allows us our creative freedom, kind of work on collabs with you guys, and kind of pick and choose, I guess, what we want to do. And
so Root General Store is not only you guys, but you guys also have other people sell things inside of your store, right? Like, how does it work?
Yeah, we don't do any sort of consignment. So we buy everything outright. And our focus is local. So if we can, we kind of label ourselves like a general store, modern day general store, I guess. But clothing, vintage, new, home goods, skincare, jewelry, art, a little bit of everything, books. So, you know, if we could find it locally made and sourced by local artists, that's definitely our priority. If not, then we just work with like small independent makers and manufacturers. So nothing that you're going to find at any big box stores, nothing that's like mass produced. So all the jewelry in the shops from like 3 or 4 different local jewelry makers. And
how'd you guys get connected with all these different artists, really?
It would like our goal was local, hyper local, and obviously that took some time since we hadn't been back in the community in a while. So that took a little time to build up to what we are now. But I think just like I said, with the community and like just doing events at Tioga and pop-ups and art hops, just I don't know. Just
I feel like it's something because I lived in LA, so I shared a similar experience to you where I didn't get the sense of community,
right?
You know, and it's like everybody was on the grind. It's a hustle. Like, you know, I remember telling people, I lived in the Bay Area too, that it felt like I needed a blinker on my shopping cart at Costco. You know, it's like everyone's just on the grind and hustling all the time, and it's you don't get the sense like that you get to stop and take a look around and enjoy it. Like the pace just wasn't a good fit for me personally.
Yeah, it's hard.
But I also get the sense like in what you're doing here in town now is, for me, I would think like it's challenging because so many people, what I've realized a lot about Fresno in general is that there is this desire to have comfort. And there's a desire to like park in front of your grocery store and get out and not have a bunch of people in front of line and be able to get your groceries and get out and go home and enjoy your house and your family. But
and not sit in traffic.
And not sit in traffic, yeah. But sometimes I also didn't get as much of a feeling as there's like a lot of, you know, creative or artistic or like stores like yours where when I was in LA or in the Bay Area, you see a lot of that style of things where people really have like the craving or desire to have something uniquely created,
right? Versus
just like right out of the box at the store, convenient. So has that been a challenge adapting people here to like a different style, or is it?
Because a lot of the creative, I mean, that was one thing with opening our store concept is like, you know, anytime we get someone in the store like, oh, this reminds me of a store in LA or, you know, Santa Barbara or something like that. It's like, it's not a new concept at all in the retail world, but it hadn't existed in Fresno yet. So for my wife and I, and, you know, when we started in 2015, you know, it was like, we need to do it before someone else does.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time till someone does it. So we hustled. I mean, we moved back June 2015. We opened the store in November 2015. And
you guys were originally in a different spot than where you're at now, right?
Yes. We were on the Fulton Mall next to Peeves.
Okay. Yep. That kind of
like narrow.
Yeah.
I just walked, would see everyone just walk by my front door.
Uh-huh.
Thankfully, we had those middle doors that lit in from Peeves because that was mainly our front door. People like go in and get lunch or a beer and kind of poke their head and be like, oh, what's this?
That's where I did the first time. I was at Peeves like after I think maybe a Fuego game or a Grizzly game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the heck is this? And I kind of like looked in and I'm like, oh wow, this is something new.
Yeah.
And you guys had like some random stuff at the beginning. I don't even remember what I saw. Like I think I saw a purse and then like a sweater and then I don't know, a bike. I don't know what it was. Just like all these kind of
we didn't have bikes, but it was, I guess, at one point a bike shop, I think, back in the day.
Okay.
So there was some like gears or something on the walls at one point. Yeah, it was, I mean, moving back, we thought we were going to have, you know, like Fulton Mall's ghost town. So we're like, we could pick any building we want down here. And it wasn't the case at all. You know, we had numerous building owners just tell us like, oh, you know, I don't want to rent right now or call me in a year kind of thing. And then after like 3 times like that, we went back to Peeves to have a beer. And Craig was kind of like, oh, do you guys sign a lease today? And we're like, no. Another one fell through kind of thing. And then that's when he was like, why don't you guys take over this spot? So initially, like finding the local artists, it was just like going to a lot of like craft fairs and stuff like that, finding ceramic artists and being like, hey, do you sell to anyone else? And they're like, no, I sell here at the flea market or every other Saturday or something like that. So it was a lot of like taking our experience in the apparel industry of what we knew of like designing of like wholesale retail and kind of like teaching a lot of the makers that like, okay, like if you're selling this here for this price, like how do I make money? Obviously I need to buy it at a lower rate in order to resell it. But I'll buy in bulk from you. So instead of just you're selling 1 or 2 at a time, let me buy like 30 at a time, and then it's my responsibility to get rid of them, kind of thing. So a lot of it, that was, I feel like, one thing for us is we've really worked with a lot of makers to teach them that wholesale retail side of the business. But it's fun because then we also, like, as a creative, like, there's, I don't know how to do jewelry, I don't know how to do ceramics, but it's like,
sure, hey,
let's, like, we kind of get a design with them in a sense. So we'll do items specifically for the shop that maybe they're not doing for other stores. So
I love that concept. So, I mean, I'm just making the comparison in my mind to completely separate businesses, but something that like Mike Oz and Ray and all those guys that are dealing with Fresno Street Eats have kind of worked with those guys in like a similar mindset of where like, hey, I'm a food truck, but I'm only able to be at this location on this day, and I make all my money that I can in one day, and that's all I have. And they've been able to like connect the dots for them to give them more volume, more opportunities, more marketing, more, and like they've been able to take these trucks, and now instead of working 1 day a week, they're able to work 5 days a week and really kind of grow. Yeah. And that's kind of cool that you're doing that with the local artists as well, in a way.
Yeah, in a sense, trying to do that. But
so do you guys do online as well as?
We do online, yeah. That's kind of what got us through COVID. I mean, we were shut down for about 8 months in the thick of COVID, March to October, I guess. But online, we had already had an online presence, but that really pushed us to get more of an online presence and really push the online website, as well as like the design.
That's hard. It's something we're trying to figure out right now. Is how do you be effective online? Like, what type of marketing do you really need to do with it? Like social media ad buys, or does the photography matter? Or is it just the product?
Yeah.
Like we're in the midst of trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
But everybody nowadays, everything's on Instagram.
Instagram is huge.
Yeah.
I mean,
everything, like during COVID when everything was shut down, I remember buying everything on Instagram. When my husband and I got married, I found our wedding photographer. I found our caterer. I found all these people, local businesses. And we hired all of them because I saw pictures on Instagram. Wow. So things like that, and especially, not only supporting your store, but the people that made those items.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
we find a lot of makers that, just running across Instagram pages and like hitting them up and like, hey, would you sell to our store? Can we buy stuff from you and work with you and stuff? So.
And where do you find like your customers? How is it? I mean, because being on Fulton, you had probably originally hoped, hey, we get some walk-up audience. No. But that's not probably how it worked, right?
We learned that very quickly through Craig Sharton with Peeves. I mean, we moved back and we'd heard about this Create Here business plan competition that the Downtown Partnership still puts on, and there's been a lot of businesses that have opened up from that. But Craig was a big influence as far as like, like, are you sure you know what you're getting into? Like, you're downtown. And my mom has worked in downtown for 40 years. So, I mean, and as my wife's mom, too, she was a fire inspector with Fresno Fire. Which,
my favorite people.
Yeah. She's retired now.
Okay, good.
But both of our parents, we were like, my wife and I were like, hey, we're going to move back to Fresno. We're going to open a retail store in downtown. And both of our moms were like, please, like, don't. Like, it's not going to last, kind of thing. But they got to the point where they were, were like the typical downtown residents or employees that brown bagged it. They came, clocked in, they ate at their desks, and they left at 5.
Yeah.
And so now they really see like what we, I guess, envisioned all along. But jumping back to with Craig, Craig really put it like, you're a destination. You're not going to be dependent on just random foot traffic. Like, you got to work to get people in the door, which is what our struggle is 6 years later. Is like, I'm confident enough that we have good enough product in the store that if I can get someone in the store, they're going to buy it on something, but it's just kind of getting them in the door.
Yeah.
I mean, I think.
Yeah, we've
same goes with sports, I guess.
100%.
Right?
I mean, being downtown for the last, I've been downtown now since 2011, working or living with the Grizzlies, the Fuego, Fresno FC, and now Fuego again. But it's the same thing. It's like you would hope being in a downtown location, you would capture this like walking audience, but and for our downtown, it's not. You have to create legitimately a destination location, and that's a huge challenge because people figure, oh, you're in downtown, like it's going to be cheaper on rent, or it's going to be something and it's
Yeah,
not like
it's
it's pricey, it's challenging, sometimes it's hard to find parking, and you have to really, you know, for us on sports, have to create legitimate events to get people to come. And so I guess that kind of is a nice little segue to leading into Art Hop. And Art Hop is probably, like, I would assume a really successful time to get new people into your store,
it's a huge night,
to be able to just expose people to your brand. I mean, what has Art Hop done for you as a downtown business, and like, how do you plan on using it? You know,
it's huge. I mean, that's definitely like, that was, you know, when, you know, we didn't have Art Hop for a year and a half with COVID, I guess. But no, that's definitely our night that we're covering bills that night. You know, we know we're gonna have a big night. Previously, it was just like a big party, you know, and we would usually have a DJ, some sort of like, you know, we'd have Dez in there doing cocktails, or some, you know, Mike Cruz would kind of come down and send some staff down and be pouring Tioga beers or something. But no, it was just a great night for anyone to experience downtown, and anyone that would come into my shop and like on a non-Art Hop night, and they'd kind of just be like, how you doing? Like, why are you here? In a sense, like, why don't you move to River Park? And I'm like, well, show me a 100-year-old theater.
It's a dope building
in North
that's
Fresno. You know, like, show me Warner's Theater architecture or any of these buildings down here with any sort of like character and design in them, like in another part of Fresno. It doesn't exist.
You can't find it.
But I always tell them, like, come down, like, have you experienced Art Hop? And a lot of people still don't even know what it is. And, you know, I'm like, come down the first Thursday every month, and typically people are like always blown away, like, holy crap, like, I didn't even know this went on.
Yeah.
And it's still like every, you know,
it's kind of the one
6 years.
I guess not the only, but in my opinion, in the city of Fresno, it's like the one cultural event that we have on a frequent basis. You know, like downtown Clovis has the farmers market that does really well on the weekends, every Friday, and it's a fun, entertaining situation. But Art Hop to me is like the one thing that Fresno can kind of hang its hat on, is like, this is our one super dope, cool event that like everybody can come to. And thing I like is the police leave you alone. People have a good time. They take care of themselves. They are drinking and stuff. But it's just an enjoyable experience to walk around and see people you would probably never expect to see downtown. And
that
enjoy
amount of people. I mean, really,
thousands. There's thousands of people.
Yeah, Fuego pulls out with their crowds, you know, and then, you know, Frez Yes Fest, Mike Oz can pull those crowds, Sam can pull those crowds, but I mean, it's like, we always joke, like, okay, we've got one night a month. Now we need 29 more of these. Like, how do we do that? How do we fill those gaps, you know?
Sure.
So,
I mean, so I mean, you've been in downtown for a while. Like, what are some of the things that you see from like the grassroots? Like, we on this last podcast, Sam referenced it as like not the 30,000 foot approach, but like the worm's eye view. You know, what are some things that you really think that need to happen for downtown to like take that next step? Because it seems like there's been like incremental mini steps along the way, but we haven't made that leap that we really need to make as a community to.
And I feel like there was a lot of momentum like pre-COVID.
Yeah.
And then obviously COVID took a major impact. I mean, right now, I mean, for downtown, we're very much reliant on events. And if not events, then like my day-to-day is like maybe like city employees or staff that work down there that pop in for a gift or something like that. And when people were working from home, you know, we didn't have that. And when the events were off, I mean, so downtown was really affected. I mean, I personally, I think we need more living down there. I mean, I think there's definitely demand. It seems like those lofts fill up so quickly. I mean, if we can get more life down there, you know, in the evenings time, you know, I mean, obviously there's a lot of people that work down there, but, you know, we haven't seen any new living lofts or any sort of living situation in years. So, I mean, the nightlife is starting to pick up. There's a few more retail spots coming in. Obviously, we have professional sports down there. So it's like, you know, there's the demand that people, I mean, we meet people every day, I feel like every week, that have like, they're moving to Fresno, either someone like me that have left for years and they're coming back, or maybe never have ties, or they're coming in to work at, you know, Community Regional Medical Center or Valley Children's, that are completely new to Fresno, and they want that downtown environment because that's what they're doing in San Francisco or LA or something like that. So I don't know what the holdup is, if it's city stuff or just builders not ready to take the leap. I mean,
Yeah, it's like chicken or
Right.
chicken and the egg. Which
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
comes first? Because when I lived down there, I lived in Broadway lofts,
Yeah.
which I loved. They're like these awesome old brick buildings with
Mm-hmm.
it was such a cool experience. But like I struggled to find places to eat.
Yeah.
I struggled to find like a grocery store to go to.
Yeah.
Or I mean, I had the cultural arts park, but other than that, like
Well, that's
on the
most
weekend
of-
at nights is just kind of dead.
Yeah.
And
I mean, all the restaurants. I mean, it's tough. I mean, for me, like, I stay open late on art hop nights, but after 6 o'clock, everyone, you see the cars starting to drive away, and for a restaurant or a bar to try to stay open late, it's tough not having that pool, and
it's the only Subway in town that's not open on Sundays. Like, is the one downtown.
on Fresno Street.
Yeah,
right there?
I'm like, I remember going by on a Sunday, like, hanging out over there, and I was like, oh, I'll get a Subway sandwich. And I went by, and I'm like, Subway's closed?
Yeah.
Like, how's it closed? It's Subway.
And even like the Starbucks on Kern,
It closes.
by the convention center. I mean, they're closed early too. It's like, it's wild.
That's
so
crazy.
Are you are you a downtown visitor? What's your perspective on downtown from being from the Valley? And
Yeah, I think when I lived here in Fresno back in college, we'd come downtown all the time. But, now that I live further away in Visalia, I'm not here as often.
Yep.
But yeah, when we were in college, we would always come downtown. They had really good, thrift stores. The restaurants were good. Art Hop, we always went to. So there was a lot of, and we did a ton of sport games too. But it's just it's different now. It's definitely gotten better. Back when I was in college, it was a little. They didn't have the lofts back then. Things weren't as nice or as clean as they are now. But it's changed so much, and I love it. If we lived closer, I would definitely come more often. But it's just.
It seems like it's like the part that was challenging is when they opened up Fulton. I was kind of hoping it would like pop around Peeves and grow, so it brings because all the lofts are on the north end,
right.
Yeah.
and like the brewery district's on the south end,
Right.
and the stadium. And I was hoping that it would kind of grow from the inside out,
Connected,
but
yeah.
it seemed like it's the opposite way. Like South Stadium, where Modernists and Dab and Full Circle is and all that, and Tioga, it's like that area is thriving, and then up where you're at, it's kind of thriving with like Living and some other, Chicken Shack and that way. But like the middle, the connectivity is just kind of missing. So I remember
Right.
like for me living on the north end, and like it didn't feel like there was a way for me to like get bar hop to places,
Right.
or like stop at a shop and then stop at another shop, and and that's where I feel like I hope the connectivity comes, because if Fulton can become that corridor,
Yeah, for sure.
then I think it's got like a lot of potential. It just seems like it's so slow.
Yeah.
And a lot of, I don't know. I mean, a lot of the big buildings, obviously, Fresno City ran, health department, that, and
yeah, workers. It's a
they're
lot of workers.
Yeah,
and it's
which
not living,
I mean, it's good that buildings are occupied during the day, but then it seemed like at night, like from like Tuolumne to, Inyo down where Tioga is, it's like, you got Chicken Shack there, but there's not much
True.
in between, which, so.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
Well, so we're doing Art Hop together.
Yes.
We've got a collaboration coming up. I think people have seen a few of the collabs that we've done. We actually, I don't know when this will come out, Nathan, but tomorrow, so I'm not sure tomorrow doesn't mean tomorrow when this comes out. Anyways, confusing. We're doing one with Sam at FTK, and we're doing a little thing at his shop. And we did one with Iron Bullies. And we're doing one with a young lady named Ari Ray, who's into like fitness, women's yoga gear and stuff. That's really cool. And so one of the reasons that we wanted to do collaborations within, the community is that we really felt like Fuego's always been like a big family, and it's been a super inclusive family, and Fire Squad and all the supporter clubs have done a good job of that. And we always felt like, man, if we got this team back, we want to highlight our community, because I grew up here, and it felt like I couldn't wait to get the hell out, because there was nothing cool, and there was nothing to do, and there was really nothing about my city that I could be proud of. And I felt like that as a teenager, and I think a lot of people kind of maybe even still feel that way just a bit, but I feel like that's shifting.
Yeah.
And our thought was like, if there's something to be really proud of, it's like it's your sports team, right? The Pittsburgh Steelers, the Seattle Seahawks, the Dallas Cowboys, whatever. And love the Grizzlies, But at the end of the day, the Grizzlies are an affiliate of a major league team, right? So it's
Right.
hard, like they don't really have the homegrown players as much and things like that. And the Fuego gave us an opportunity to hire local players and coaching staff and front office and really feel like we're like a platform for our community to be able to expose our talent to the world, right?
Yeah.
And so we felt like, all right, well, why does that only have to happen on the pitch? Like, why can't that also happen within like highlighting incredible, brands like yours or FTK or these other things? And so being able to do collaborations, it felt good for us because it felt like we've got a family of people that have been coming to games that we've known a long time. We've had beers together, and like, why not rally all together and like expose how cool our community actually is? And so that was kind of the reasons that we wanted to do the collabs, one. And then on the other side, it's like, are there communities out there that maybe haven't been exposed to soccer and to how enjoyable coming to a match could be? With Iron Bullies, it's like a bunch of bodybuilders that are like jacked and like, and do they watch soccer? Maybe not. I don't know. But maybe they can come out to a game and have a beer and have a good time and enjoy the experience.
Oh, yeah.
And so being able to expose the Fuego brand into different pockets of the community felt like a good grassroots marketing strategy as well. So being able to highlight our community and to reach a new audience, I think is what we're trying to do and what we really hope to do. And we're super stoked about the collaboration we're about to do with you guys. So you want to talk about your design and what's coming out and what people can look forward to?
Yeah. So we did, we're doing a jersey. So kind of obvious for soccer, but we did a little all over kind of ditzy floral kind of wildflowered print. Actually, I have the socks on right here.
Nice.
We did socks of it too, partially. The jersey will have that kind of floral print on it. Have Root, the Fuego logo, and it'll have dreams across the chest for the camp kind of recognition for that. And then we're going to do a little jacket with it, some socks, hats, just a few items to kind of commemorate the three kind of groups here that we're celebrating. So yeah, we're excited. It's been, I think we started on it in January.
Holy cow, it's been a while.
And obviously, a lot of manufacturing's tough,
right,
on its own, and then you throw in a pandemic.
Yeah,
to try
and
to
custom shirts, jerseys, all that stuff. It was a hard thing to get our hands on.
Yeah, it's been it's exciting. It's it's good to see it finally coming together, and I'm excited to see. I think we're working on a photo shoot next week, so that'll be coming out soon. Or our timeline here is, I know,
I know,
messed up,
yeah.
but so we'll see have some preview shots, little video and everything, little teasers coming out before Art Hop, and then the jerseys are gonna have to be pre-sold just because due to everything we've been dealing with production. So some of the items will be pre-sold, and we'll take orders, and then we'll fill those orders after a few weeks or a month down the road, and then some items will be able to be purchased and take home the night of Art Hop. So, and I know you guys are setting up little goals and stations and bringing out for the community and the kids and whatnot.
Nice.
So it should be a good night.
It'll be fun. It'll be soccer. It'll be cool gear. It'll be a party.
Yeah.
And I mean, all of us have had this common connection of cancer and its effect on our lives and our loved ones' lives, and it feels good to be able to tie it together. I mean, it feels good to go out and market and sell some merchandise and have a party, but to know that there's a portion of the proceeds that are going to a good cause that make an impact on people that we know it does make a difference. And to me, it's like, if there's one thing that the Fuego could do, sometimes it's be a distraction for the chaos of reality, right? And going to a sports game and getting away from having, cancer or dealing with politics or having your crappy bills at home. Like, if you can go and use sports as a platform to just kind of escape and get away for a moment and have a good time, I think that's a great use of athletics and pro sports. And so hopefully that night will be a great night for everybody, and we'll raise some money, and it'll go back to a really good cause that can make an impact.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what, should we end on that? What else is there to say? Yeah, Nathan, you got anything? You got a camera facing you today? Well, thank you guys for coming on. I'm super duper excited for the collab and for the night, and we're gonna have a good time. So
Yeah.
Art Hop, October 7th.
October 7th, is that confirmed? First Thursday of October.
First Thursday.
We'll have a street closure. The Fresno Street Eats guys will be bringing some food trucks in for us. We'll have a bunch of vendors and makers out there, and then some soccer. So
yeah, we're gonna have a good time. So
Yeah.
make sure you guys make it out, and if you have any questions, you know where to find us. So thank you guys so much. I really
thanks for
appreciate
having
it.
us.
Thank you.
All right, bye everybody.
Bye.